Well, I mean, the exciting thing to do would be some sort of electric vertical takeoff and landing supersonic. Before you watch another second of this video, I need to ask you something directly. You've probably seen the headlines. Tesla flying car, $6,000. Vertical takeoff, no pilot required, and images that look like they came straight out of a sci-fi film. So, let me ask you the one question that actually matters here. Is any of this real, or is it another piece of AI-generated content designed to get you excited, keep you watching, and maybe even get you to send money somewhere you shouldn't? That's exactly what we're going to answer today, not with hype, not with speculation dressed up as news, but with a clear, honest breakdown separating confirmed facts from unverified claims and telling you straight what this technology means for someone in your position at your stage of life. Because here's the truth: if this is real, it could change how you get around for the rest of your life. And if it's not ready, or if it comes with costs and risks nobody's talking about, then knowing that now could save you from a very expensive mistake. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to think about the Tesla flying car, and more importantly, what to do about it. What's real, what's speculation, and why that distinction could cost you. Let's start here, because this is the question that actually matters. There's growing speculation online connecting Tesla's name to a personal eVTOL, an electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicle. The headlines are everywhere, the images look convincing, but let's be precise about what is actually confirmed and what is not. What is real? The broader eVTOL category. Companies like Joby Aviation, Archer, and Lilium have been developing these vehicles for years with genuine FAA engagement and real flight testing. The technology direction is legitimate. That part is not a rumor. What is not confirmed: a retail Tesla flying car at any specific price point or launch date. There is no verified $6,789 figure in any official Tesla communication. There is no announced production timeline. The images circulating, including the photorealistic ones, have not been confirmed by Tesla as actual production renders. So, when you see a headline that says, "Tesla flying car is finally here," understand what that headline is doing. It is using a name you trust to dress up speculation as news. And for anyone living on a fixed retirement income, that kind of misdirection is not just annoying, it's dangerous. Does that mean the technology isn't worth your attention? Not at all. What it means is that your attention should go to what is actually verifiable, and that is where we're going right now. The real technology behind the concept. Here's what's genuinely impressive, and why this story deserves your attention, even if the headlines are overblown. Tesla's eVTOL concept draws on two engineering pipelines that have never been combined quite like this before. The first is Tesla's own electric drivetrain and battery technology, the same systems that have been refined through millions of miles of real-world EV use. The second is SpaceX's precision landing technology, the engineering that allows a rocket booster to return from the edge of space and land itself upright on a floating platform in the ocean. When you take those two things and apply them to personal air travel, the result is a vehicle designed around one central idea: remove the complexity that has always made flying dangerous and expensive. Traditional helicopters have hundreds of moving mechanical parts, traditional. Light aircraft require extensive pilot training, physical coordination, and constant manual input. The eVTOL concept eliminates most of that instead of one large rotor. You have multiple small electric rotors, typically 6 to 8, that are independently controlled by software. If one fails, the others compensate automatically. That is not a gimmick. That is a fundamental safety improvement over everything that has come before it. And here's something that should genuinely interest you, because the vehicle is designed to be fully autonomous. It doesn't ask you to be pilot. The AI navigation system handles takeoff, routing, obstacle avoidance, and landing. You tell it where you want to go, it gets you there. For someone who may be finding long highway drives more tiring than they used to be, that is not a small thing. That is potentially years of additional independence. But, and this is where we need to slow down and think carefully. The gap between designed to do this and proven safe to do this at scale is enormous, and that gap is where the real questions live. The price, and why that number doesn't tell the full story. Let's talk about $6,789. If you've followed Tesla over the years, you know one thing with absolute certainty: the price they announce first is almost never the price you pay. The Model 3 launched with a promised base price that took years to reach. The Cybertruck was announced at a price point that ultimately bore little resemblance to what buyers actually paid at the dealership. That pattern matters here, because with a flying vehicle, the gap between sticker price and total cost of ownership is not just large, it is potentially the difference between a manageable purchase and a financial decision you cannot recover from. Think through what the sticker price doesn't include: insurance. No standard auto insurance policy covers an aircraft. You would need a separate aviation policy, and for a new category, a vehicle with no established crash history, underwriters will price that risk conservatively. We are talking about annual premiums that could run several $1,000s a year, every year. Battery replacement. Tesla's ground vehicle batteries are designed to last, but they degrade. An eVTOL operating at higher power loads than a ground vehicle will stress its battery pack more aggressively. When that pack needs replacement, and eventually it will, the cost on a 6 to 8 motor system is not comparable to replacing the battery in a Model 3. Maintenance and certification. Any aircraft operating in U.S. airspace is subject to FAA inspection requirements. That is not optional. That means licensed aviation technicians, not your local auto shop. The hourly labor rates are different. The parts availability is different, and until there are thousands of these vehicles on the road building out a service network, you are dependent on whoever Tesla designates as authorized. And charging infrastructure. Yes, Tesla's supercharger network is extensive for ground vehicles, but an eVTOL doesn't plug into a standard supercharger. It needs a vertiport, a dedicated landing and charging facility. Right now, those exist in limited numbers in a handful of cities. If you live outside Miami, Los Angeles, or handful of other early adoption markets, this vehicle may simply have nowhere practical to recharge between trips. Add all of that up over 10 years, the number looks very different from $6,789. The control question, what nobody wants to say out loud. Here's something I want you to sit with for a moment, because it connects directly to something we talk about Often on this channel, autonomous flight means giving up control on the ground. If your car's autopilot makes a decision you don't agree with, you can override it with your hands and feet instantly. In the air at altitude, the margin for that kind of correction is different. The physics are different. The consequences of a system error at 400 ft are categorically different from a fender bender at 35 mph. Tesla's engineering addresses this with multiple redundant systems. If one motor fails, the remaining motors compensate. If the AI navigation encounters an unresolvable conflict, an emergency landing protocol activates. The vehicle is designed to get you down safely, even when things go wrong. But here is the honest question: how do you feel about a system where, in a critical moment, the machine is making decisions faster than you can consciously process them? For some people, that's reassuring. Let the technology handle it. For others, that is the exact kind of dependency they've spent their retirement trying to move away from. Neither answer is wrong, but you need to know your answer before you're strapped into one of these at altitude. What the FAA has and has not approved. This is the part most channels skip entirely, and it may be the most important. To operate any aircraft in U.S. airspace, including an autonomous personal eVTOL, you need FAA certification, not just for the vehicle, but for the operational category and the airspace corridors it flies through. Joby Aviation has made meaningful progress toward FAA type certification. Archer is further along than most, but no Tesla eVTOL concept has received FAA type certification, none. What that means, even if this vehicle is built exactly as described, you cannot legally fly it over a residential neighborhood in the United States until the FAA approves it, and the FAA's timeline for new vehicle categories is measured in years, not months. There are also state and local layers, noise ordinances, airspace restrictions, near airports, community flight path approvals. These are not bureaucratic details, they're what makes personal air travel actually possible or not possible where you live. And here's the piece nobody mentions: liability. If a self-driving car causes an accident on the ground, there is an established legal framework: insurance, traffic law, civil courts. For autonomous aircraft, overpopulated areas, that framework barely exists. Who is responsible if an eVTOL malfunctions at altitude? The manufacturer, the operator, the city that approved the corridor. These questions get answered in courtrooms. After incidents happen, every early adopter operates in that legal gray zone. The question is not whether this technology will eventually be legal. It very likely will be. The question is whether it will be legal, affordable, and practical in your specific location, within the time frame that actually matters for your life. The infrastructure reality, a practical test. Let me give you a simple test to run. Right now, think about where you live. Think about your home, your neighborhood, your nearest grocery store, your doctor's office. Now ask yourself, where would an eVTOL take off from your property? Where would it land at your destination? And is there a certified vertiport with charging facilities and a licensed service crew within range of both? In most of the country today, the honest answer is there isn't. That doesn't mean there won't be. The infrastructure build-out is happening slowly in specific markets with significant investment from both private companies and city governments. Miami and Los Angeles are early leaders. Parts of Texas and the Pacific Northwest are moving, but this is a 2030 story in most places, not a 2025 story. And if you're 68 or 72 today, the window in which this technology becomes genuinely practical for your daily life, not just available somewhere, is a real planning variable. Not a reason to dismiss it, but a real factor in how you think about when and whether this belongs in your future. The safety record, what we don't have yet. Here's the most important thing I can tell you about any new transportation technology. We don't have a crash record. Every vehicle you trust today, your car, commercial aviation, has a safety record built on millions of hours of real-world operation and regulatory responses to real failures. The FAA standards exist because of things that went wrong were studied and fixed. EVTOLs don't have that history yet. That doesn't make them unsafe. The redundancy engineering is genuinely serious work, but the confidence you rationally extend to a car with a 40-year safety record is not the same confidence you can extend to a category with 2 years of limited test data. Think about what we don't know yet. How does this vehicle perform in a sustained crosswind at 300 FT? What happens when rain degrades radar and LiDAR simultaneously? What does the emergency landing system actually do over a neighborhood with power lines and pedestrians below? Engineers have modeled these scenarios, but modeling is not a decade of real-world data. And there is the coordination problem. One eVTOL in the sky is manageable. Thousands of autonomous aircraft making ad hoc trips over the same city simultaneously. The air traffic software to handle that safely does not yet exist in proven, deployed form. For someone who has spent decades building a life and now is protecting it, that uncertainty deserves real weight. The most dangerous mistake in retirement is not missing an opportunity, it is making an irreversible decision before the information is ready. What this technology could actually mean for you when it's ready. I don't want to leave you with only caution, because the honest assessment of this technology includes something genuinely good. If and when the eVTOL category matures, when FAA certification is in place, when vertiport infrastructure exists in your area, when insurance markets have settled and maintenance networks are established, this could be one of the most significant expansions of independence available to older Americans in decades. Consider what it solves. Long-distance driving fatigue, medical appointments and facilities that are 60 or 90 minutes away by road, family visits that currently require either long drive or a commercial flight with its crowded terminals, long security lines, and physical demands that grow harder every year. The gradual shrinking of your world that can happen when driving long distances becomes tiring or uncomfortable. That slow, quiet loss of range that nobody announces, but everyone feels. A personal aircraft that handles itself, charges quickly, and can be dispatched from your property, doesn't ask you to be younger than you are. It works with where you are physically right now. It doesn't require sharp reflexes at highway speed. It doesn't require you to navigate an unfamiliar city or fight for a parking space. You tell it where to go. It handles the rest. For someone who has already given up night driving or who finds freeway merging more stressful than it used to be, or who lives 45 minutes from the nearest specialist, the promise of this technology is not abstract. It is deeply personal, and it is worth taking seriously. But taking it seriously means being honest about the timeline, the window in which this becomes genuinely practical for your daily life is not 2025. It is probably not 2027 in most markets. The realistic horizon, verified. Certification, meaningful. Infrastructure, settled insurance costs, is closer to 2029 or 2030 in the cities that move fastest, and later than that, almost everywhere else. That is not a reason to dismiss it. That is a reason to watch it carefully, ask the right questions when the time comes, and not let anyone rush you into decision before the answers are available. The job right now is not to buy it. The job right now is to understand it, watch it develop, and know exactly what questions to ask when the moment comes. So, let's be clear about where things stand. The eVTOL category is real and moving fast. The specific Tesla flying car claims circulating online, the price, the launch date, and availability are not confirmed, and even if the technology eventually delivers on every promise, the regulatory timeline, the infrastructure gap, and the true cost of ownership mean this is not a decision to make today, not even close. What you should do today is this. Keep watching, not because the technology is ready, but because it is moving in a direction that could genuinely matter for your independence in retirement, and when it becomes relevant to your life. You want to have been paying attention from the beginning, not rushing to catch up. That is what this channel is here for. Not to sell you on the next thing, not to chase whatever's exciting this week, but to be the source you come to before you make a decision, so that when you do decide, you're protected. If this video helped you cut through the noise on something you've been seeing everywhere, do one thing: hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications, because in the next video, we are going directly into something that is available right now, the Tesla Model 2, and we are going to run the exact same analysis: real price versus advertised price, total 10-year cost of ownership, what it actually does for your independence, and the one thing about the Model 2 that almost no one in this space is being honest about. That video could save you a significant amount of money, or it might confirm the Model 2 is exactly right for where you are. Either way, you deserve to know before you decide, not after. Hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and I'll see you in the next one. The sky isn't the limit. Your time and your money are. Let's make sure both are protected.